Hi, I think everyone should read this classic, and this is why. Let me introduce you to my good pal, Animal Farm by George Orwell. This could possibly be the best classic I've ever read in my life, and I would love for other people to feel about this book the same way that I did the first time that I read it. So if you haven't read this book yet, here's your sign. Thank me later. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing this incredible classic, but I'm also going to be sharing with you why I think genuinely that everybody should read this. And don't worry, there will be no spoilers. Although if I'm being honest, the only spoiler to this book is the state of the current world. Ain't that the truth? Just to let you know, I'm not here to preach politics at you, or to tell you how to view the world we live in. But I will tell you why I recommend this book, what I learned from it, and how it's changed my perspectives on the world without sending me into an existential whirlpool of dread. If you've read Animal Farm, please leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. I would love to keep this conversation going and hear from you. So here are my expectations going in. All I knew about Animal Farm before I read it was that it was a classic and it was written by George Orwell and it's titled Animal Farm. And that was it. I knew basically nothing. My expectations were pretty low. I had no clue what it was about, but I was expecting it to have deep themes. This is a very short book. However, there is a quote that I've heard before, which I didn't realise was from Animal Farm, that I absolutely loved and felt like it described the world that we live in. And that is, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. How can such a short sentence have such powerful, deep meanings? My first impressions going into this book, I very quickly realised that Orwell has a fantastic way of saying so much in so little words. This is not a big book at all. By page 6, there was already so much power and depth to the dialogue. We have a pig called Major who was giving a very deep, powerful speech, and it was delivered by a pig. They were already talking about inequality. And you dive straight in to the main themes of the book. There's no messing around. Get your snorkel on as soon as you read this, because they straight away throw you in at the deep end. This book is so casual, you know, just a bunch of pigs, horses, goats, chickens forming a farm. How hard can it be, right? Well, buckle up, because this book genuinely had me questioning, like, everything about the world. I questioned everything from my 9-to-5 job to the political powers that are ruling the world. This took me on a journey that I didn't expect to go through this year. So let's set the scene. This book was published in 1945, yet it is still so relevant. That is the scary thing. I would love to read this book and think of it as a thing of the past. This is no longer a worry. This is no longer a concern. The things that this book was concerned about, we don't have to worry about that. That is not true. When you're reading this book and becoming concerned or worried about what is taking place, it hits home when you then realise, this is still happening now. We're in 2025 when I'm filming this. This book was released in 1945. There's a big time range between those dates, and yet not a lot has changed. This is George Orwell's take on how revolutions, even when they're started with the best of intentions, can actually end up being bad or even worse than the thing that they were rebelling against in the first place. It sounds heavy, and it is, but don't worry, because one of the huge strengths of this book is the use of satire. George Orwell lightens it up with some jokes in the appropriate places. We've got funny, humorous characters. It's about farm animals. It's funny. We've got relatable thoughts in there and perspectives. And he lightens up the mood a little bit through that use of satire as well. And I thought that was a massive strength, because it doesn't diminish the deep underlying meanings of the book, but it stops you from going into a spiral of existential dread. I like this book because it made me laugh, but it also made me think deeply about the world. It made me concerned about the things that I should be concerned about, but it didn't make me panic. The main synopsis of this book is about farm animals who throw a rebellion against their human owner, Mr. Jones. And the animals start running the farm and taking ownership of it, with the goal of creating a society where all animals are equal. In a dream world, that sounds great, but this is the real world, with talking animals. Sounds pretty ideal. However, things are not as they seem. And it goes to show that even a society that seems to be working for everybody can still very, very easily be disrupted and turn into a bit of a mess. Also, just a quick reminder, but if you'd like to get access to audiobooks, ebooks, and podcasts, then my link for Everand is still active. With that link, you can get a 30-day free trial. So you can try it out, see if you like it on there. They've got a huge selection of incredible books. I'll post a link in the description box. One of the main reasons why I think that everybody should read this book is because it is about political power and it is about the way of the world, which we all live in. It's not just about animals, it's about people. It's about power, politics, and how those in charge can manipulate others for their own gain. When the pigs initially take over the farm, they start off with noble intentions, but much like in real life, power corrupts, and the farm slowly starts to resemble the very system that they fought against in the first place. And it was just a cycle that goes on and on and on. If you've ever read about dictatorships, then Animal Farm is essentially a metaphor for that. That was my take on it. The pigs represent the dictators and the other farm animals represent the working class. There's also a theme of gaslighting throughout this book, which I think is very important for everybody to be aware of. Because from an outsider looking in, it's easy to see where the pigs are starting to gaslight the other animals. The problem is that if you are one of the other animals that is being gaslighted, definitely gaslighted. Gaslit! It's gaslit! It's much harder to see whilst that's happening to you. So this book is very helpful to enable people who potentially are at risk of being manipulated or gaslit by other people to look out for those signs and prevent it from escalating. The animals are left there rethinking their own morals, they're questioning their memories. It's really harrowing to witness, but it also shows the subtle way in which people can be controlled without even realising it. But I think on a deeper level, Animal Farm is about the dangers of blindly following a leader or a leadership or a movement without even questioning the consequences. They just kind of go along with it, thinking that it's going to lead to something better. They've been sold a pipe dream. The animals were so eager for change that they didn't realise that not all change would be positive. And they didn't realise that they were being exploited until it was too late. In the real world, this can happen through politics, corporate culture, and even within our personal lives if we stop thinking critically. I like this book because I can use the things I've learned when I think about political power and the way that the world is run, but also when I think about my own life. I think everybody needs to read Animal Farm because it is just that reminder that we need to stay vigilant, we need to keep asking questions, we need to keep opening up our minds, being curious, and please don't always assume that those people in power have our best interests at heart. And also that things won't suit everybody. So what may be a brilliant, perfect society for one person will not be for another person. It's not a one system fits all. So why do I think that Animal Farm is still relevant today? Because the themes in this book, manipulation, corruption, power, inequality, they're all still very relevant today, unfortunately. Not that much has changed. Some things have, don't get me wrong, we are a much more accepting society than we were when this book was written, and I love that. That is positive change. People are able to be themselves a lot more than when this book was written. However, some things are still very much so the same and others have regressed. Whether it's in politics, business, or even in our personal relationships, we need to be very cautious of the people who promise utopia, because that doesn't exist, especially when they then change the rules to benefit themselves. And hey, if a group of pigs can pull this off, then imagine what humans are doing. So if you haven't read Animal Farm yet, I would highly encourage that you do. I genuinely do think that everybody should read this book. It's a very quick read, but it'll stick with you for a long time. The actual story of this book itself is just over 100 pages. It's not a lot of your time. I also think that it's a writing style that's easy to digest for anybody from any reading age. Obviously, maybe not a toddler, I don't know. I don't know what their reading age is like, probably better than mine. But I think that George Orwell has a very clear, simplistic writing style that has very deep underlying themes, and that is a talent because it means that a wide range of audiences will be able to read this, understand it, and process it. This book has actually prevented me from entering a quarter-life crisis because I've realised that the majority of the things in this book are out of my control on a wider scale, but there are also some elements within my closer network in my personal life that I can control. I can make certain decisions, certain actions that will have an effect or an outcome in my personal life. And I think that that's what this book is trying to convey as well. The difference between what you can and can't control. Trying to let go of the things that you can't control, because if we worry about them, it's not going to lead to an outcome. But also actioning the things that you can control to try and give yourself a better life. I don't know, maybe I've got my therapist hat on and I'm thinking too psychologically about this book, but I just flippin' loved it. And I recommend that you read it. And I'd love to hear your take on it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think to this book and what you think the meaning is behind it. And how does it make you view the world? And remember guys, everybody's equal, but some people are unfortunately more equal than others apparently. But don't worry, everybody in this small part of the internet on my YouTube channel, we're all accepted here. So in a nutshell, that is why I think everybody should read Animal Farm. If you've got any other thought-provoking, deep books that genuinely change the way that you view the world, or that you view your life, or just changed your overall perspectives, I would love for you to let me know in the comments. I genuinely love books like that. As long as they don't send me into a deep spiral of panic, I'm down for it. Make sure to leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you like my content and you want to see more from me, then please subscribe because it's free and it means that you'll see my videos easier. I also just want to give a huge shout out to the Dragon Riders who are supporting my channel. Thank you so much, it means the world to me. You are so appreciated. If you'd like to have your name featured in my videos like this one, then please consider becoming a Dragon Rider. Or if you'd like to support the channel in any way, then please check out the channel memberships. Thank you so much for watching this video, I really appreciate it. I will see you next time, or rather you'll see me, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now.